Hello YouTube. The moment that I've been waiting for. Behind the scenes 2020 Christmas light show. Now we can start with what am I going to use to film it at night. Previous years I've been using just a standard tripod like this. Now this is not the exact one, I got this year, but I've been using just a standard tripod without anything on top to diffuse the light. So every single time one of these flash, the camera was just always adjusting for it. So this year what I'm going to use is this. And what this is, it has a light ring on top. And what this is supposed to do is it's supposed to help diffuse the light even better. So hopefully it won't be constantly adjusting to the different light levels. And it has a remote control keychain. Right here you can change the mode to where you can change it between cool white, warm white, or soft white, or something like that. Up and down dimmers. And the problem with this one right here is that I have to use the screwdriver for it every time because one of these broke here. So that kind of sucks. But anyways, we're just gonna leave this here. It's a slightly windy day, but it's not gonna be too windy. So let's go ahead and get started with the power. Power, same place, it comes from here and that outlet. Now, the Christmas light show and things that don't need power all the time, they run out of the garage. Everything else runs here. Which, what I mean by everything else, I mean the candy canes and the projector set. The trees and the icicles all run through there. They all have individual timers, so like these two I think are on one timer, and then this one's on its own timer. I don't know. There's two wires on one timer, one wire on the other timer. And the whole light show is automated through my phone. I'll show you that in another video. Maybe the Christmas lights at night. Now, the Mr. Christmas is on its own light show. It has a little container, just like last year. It's on its own timer, which means that I can control this separately with everything else. Now, the large trees in the middle, you know, it was back there last year. This year it's in the middle. And the cords do not have any more lights going on. I showed you guys that in a previous video. They don't have any more lights on these cords. I cut them out. That was actually a pretty good idea to do that. Now, the small tree's on this side because the arch has to connect to it, and it's not right here anymore because I extended the wire for the arch. So now it's all the way back here, away from the street. Now, the medium tree is over here. The wire just runs, and nothing has to connect to this. It's just sitting here, quite fine. Now, why there's six wires over here is because all these lights have 6 channels, just like last year and the year before that. And the arch has 6 channels. I might change that next year because it is starting to cause a little bit of a problem. This arch always dies out with lights every year, so maybe I have to switch that. And because I switched that, now maybe that tree has to switch over too. But anyways, here are the lights on the ground for this tree. I wrapped it around instead of doing that crazy thing I did last year. That was kind of stupid to do that. The extension cords for this is not really hooked up because those are even starting to cause a problem this year, so maybe I do have to also update those. There's a lot of updates I have to do because they're really starting to cause a problem, what I've done for 2020. But they still run. Do they run in the rain? They don't. The trees don't run in the rain. Everything else does. So they're not really causing too much of a problem if it's not raining, which it shouldn't rain for the rest of the season. Now the extension cord runs all the way back there. Alright, so let's go on to the trees over here. What's going on over here? Now, this 8-footer, you know, was over this, but because of this tree's here, didn't want to do that this year. Now, I wrapped this one in a whole bunch of lights. These are either 150 count or 100 count lights, and I have 2 of them coupled together. And overall, it just kind of lights this part up because it's only a plank here. Maybe next year I'll put those up in the tree over here, and then I'll show you that. So then there's the 8-footer. Nothing too much to change with that, along with lovely bees over there. Man, I don't like bees. And then this year, for 2020, we got this thing. Now, this is the Gemmy Simplicy tree. It's a 6-foot LED tree, and it has candle type lights. Right here, there's candle type lights and some static on. You'll see that at night, and you'll see a completely assembly and unboxing video of that soon. I just don't know when I'm gonna upload that. There's these two, and these two, this one just has a cord long enough to plug in over here. So I have is the incandescent plugged in down there, and then the LED tree, and then the Simplicy tree. I did it where I'm not running too much power on one of the LED trees, to where I can fry either a board or just like some lights on this one. I wanted it to where it goes from the most wattage and voltage or amperage to the least amount of amperage and wattage and stuff like that. And this year you can see I made holes on the bottom of it and holes on the top. I ran string through the entire tree to where I'm not putting too much pressure on the wire itself, and to where all the bulbs are facing down rather than out, which I like this idea better. However, I do need to tie up some of the lights next year, because this one is starting to come loose. Over here, oh, and something else I even wanted to mention was, we have a lovely little friend over here that stayed here the whole season. You can't not see it at all, but however, this is a spiderweb here. It stayed here the whole season. I haven't messed with it. I haven't touched it. Hasn't messed with anyone. So the extension cord is hooked in with the icicles into the garage. So we don't need to see that. Now for the Orchestra Lights system. As you know, the candy canes are new for 2020. I originally had the candy canes right in front of the tree line, which honestly I thought was pretty cool. But however, they wouldn't sync really well because we have very poor Wi-Fi, because they're adjusting the Wi-Fi this year. We have very poor Wi-Fi over here. It doesn't exactly reach, the hub it's not strong enough to reach. So maybe Orchestra Lights will make Gemmy will make an extender for the Orchestra Lights, because the hub range of Wi-Fi kind of stinks. So maybe they can make an extender at some point. So right here we have constant power from this extension cord right here, this T right here, and it goes into this extension cord. And then I had this little adapter from a vacuum cleaner I had to repair. We got a whole new cord for a vacuum cleaner. That'll be another video, maybe. And the connector broke. I had to put this on it, and we ended up getting a whole new cord because the cord had so many issues with it. So I've always cut the extension cord, never at the end, unless the connector is broken. I never cut it at the end. I always leave myself like 2 or 3 feet if I need the extension cord for something else, to where I could plug in something like this, because even something as short as this, like 2 or 3 feet, is pretty good. So what I did is I put a connector onto a short piece I've cut like years ago, and then I plugged in the candy cane pathway markers into this, because this will not reach over here because of the Orchestra Lights projectors. It's not long enough. It's only 6 feet. And now I have 4 candy canes going along this side right here, and 4 candy canes going along over here. Now down here, here's the projector set. Now I did not wire this up yet. When I get a new Jemmy speaker from like I don't know, from like an old light show, it's starting to fall apart a little bit. Maybe I'll put some glue there. But I added a connector to where I can plug in a regular speaker, because this speaker is really starting to get a little bit scratchy and starting to not like it. But we can go ahead and try it out. Do not know what song it's on. Whatever. There's it working. You cannot see it, but it does work. Anyways, it does work. And then while we're at it, I'll leave it on and I can show you the icicles. So, as you know, we did have icicles up here last year, but they just constantly fell. They were falling down from there like crazy. And they were on the floor. Well, just so happened, a squirrel got to it and chewed here. They chewed, and the icicles are right down here. So we lost a set of icicles. And now, where we have them is on this side of the house and on this side of the house. So that's actually pretty nice. Now, right here, I can also show you that we have bows on these things. That was something interesting. We had a lot of bows, so maybe I'll take them off and put them on next year. See if they fall. Now, one last thing is the wreath. This cord right here going to the wreath. This thing died and then it turned back on. So now it just stays on. But that's it. Oh, and holding up these things are guidelines. I used this for the arch last year and it worked pretty well, so I used it for all the trees. Maybe next year what I'll do is I'll cut up here and actually secure them, because they keep on falling over because we have one piece of string. So this string is actually that same piece over there. We're not going to do that next year. And this tree is leaning a little bit because the pole kinked when I stored it. Same with this one. And maybe next year, maybe update the bases a little bit. Maybe I'll make it full PVC or full plastic, because it keeps on falling over because there's only this. There's no other type of support. So maybe also update that too. There's a lot of updates, like this right here might be completely updated. May not even do this little thing. Maybe put a light show box up here and have this on a separate system and no lights here anymore. The arch might be just like one. It might be just constant on. It might be just these trees on the light show box. I don't even know. Maybe do the bushes back there next year. But this is it for 2020. You'll see a Christmas lights at night video, like always. And I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. And I'll see you guys in my next video.